let's do this from our point of view on the lessons learned from today, right? What are some things that we can start with? One of you here, spend a minute or two. Joshi ji, see, we can spend, what are some lessons you think we learned today? And we can ask the audience, how would they like to participate in those questions? Would you like to start, or Satyaji, would you like to start? Bhai sahab. Okay. Kapoor sahab, to see warranty ditti si na. So we need an extended warranty on the Bhagavad Gita. Huh? The format is essentially this. We're going to be talking a little bit about what we have all learned from today's session amongst ourselves. Then we open it up for questions, right? So that's the intent. Huh? Okay. So let's ask this. Otherwise I'm going to come down. If you don't say anything, then I operate in a different way. Because that's how I do the fundraising for the Gita Ashram. So I'm going to come right here. Yes, come on in. So we have to ask questions from today's session. So I'm going to put you on the speaker. If you don't ask, then I'm going to come to you. Okay? That's the way it works. So let's see. Mr. Saab, koi question to hoga? Ek to puchna padega aapko. Go ahead. Anything comes to mind.
At present, I don't have any question, but I want to learn Sanskrit so that I can understand Gita more, I think, So what can I do, Means how do I learn Sanskrit, for example? I try to learn Sanskrit from online, but that is kind of not helping me much. Sometimes I read Gita, one guy says one thing, other guy says other thing. One slok has two different meanings, for example. So how do I know which translation is correct, for example, For example, in this movie, Oppenheimer, what Oppenheimer says, that has slightly different, interpretation than what is other interpretation by other people. So.
Okay. So let me understand your question first. You are saying that there were many speakers and solution to the problem, everybody was saying, those people were saying it differently or giving the different answers? Okay. So your question is that you try to learn about the Gitas from online, and different websites, different people are giving you the different explanation, and you want to know which one to follow. Okay. So the question is that he tries to learn the Gita from online, and he goes to different websites, and on different websites there is a different way of translating the Gita verses, and they have of course commentary, and they're explaining it differently. So which one is right and which one is wrong? Not a right, but which one to follow? So my answer would that be on that one. When you read, everybody has a many different people are explaining it, and there are major institutions also explaining it. And when I look at it, to me, everybody is right to their capabilities, whatever sometimes it's more institutional. For example, ISKCON wale, they focus more on Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness. आप ज्ञानानंद जी उनके दूसरा किसी का देखेंगे, कोई ज्ञान के ऊपर बात करता है, कोई कर्म के ऊपर बात करता है, क्योंकि गीता में सबके इक्विवेलेंट तीनों को खास करके ध्यान दिया गया है। लेकिन कर्म योग को सब लोग कहते हैं प्रधान है, लेकिन आप कर्म बिना ज्ञान के कर नहीं सकते हैं। तो आपको जब आप देखते हैं, आप which one resonates with you, and also which one your need of the time, डिपेंडिंग कि आपको उस समय कर्म योग की ज्यादा जरूरत है या भक्ति योग की ज्यादा या ज्ञान योग की, हालांकि वो तीनों इकट्ठे ही काम करते हैं। आप बिना ज्ञान के कर्म नहीं कर सकते, एंड अनलेस यू पुट योर सोल, योर हार्ट, योर लव एंड कंपैशन इनटू द वर्क, योर वर्क विल कैन नॉट टर्न इनटू ए कर्म योग एनी हाउ.
Okay.
So all these are equally important, but the need of your time and what resonates with you. If you are more inclined toward the bhakti योग, आपको इस्कॉन की वर्सेस का एक्सप्लेनेशन बहुत अच्छा लगेगा, आप यदि पढ़ेंगे. लेकिन हम जब गुरु जी के, हमारे जो गीता आश्रम की है, या मुझे जो ज्यादा, मैं अपना बता रही हूँ, जो गोरखपुर से जो आती हैं गीता, उनका जो है मुझे बहुत ज्यादा अच्छा लगता है. एंड दैट गिव्स मी ए मोर ट्रेडिशनल, वेरी बेसिक, और मुझे कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं करना पड़ता, बिकॉज इट जस्ट ओपन्स अप मेनी मेनी channels within.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I think I just answer your question about language. Sanskrit. I also don't know Sanskrit. Okay. Yes. And I think, the different translations, of course, you may have seen many of them. I saw few of them. I think materially they are similar. It is just a commentary, how deep you go into commentary, that may differ. Also, I know we differ on this issue, and Narendra Bhai Sahab has a very, he has a very disciplined view that, the truth is one, we can't change it, so one has to be very careful in the interpretation of Gita. But I personally think that, the change is the only sign of life. They say change is the truth of life, but change is also the sign of life. With the time, interpretation will change. And I think it has to change to some extent. The young kids today, for example, Rupa Pai, I don't know whether you got a chance to listen to her or not today. You see, she's explaining a very tough subject to young kids at the age group of 10, 12, 14, 13. Now, she can't use the same language as she would do to people like you, who already have the wisdom. So sometimes we have to dilute the subject a little bit in order to make it interesting. And I don't take much time, but I tell you, my understanding of Gita is, of course, ये लोग तो महात्मा है, ये क्या बताएं, मतलब इनके मुझे तो कुछ भी इनके बारे में, इनके मुकाबले में कुछ भी नहीं पता. But one thing I learned is that, of the different ways to reach him, different religions to reach him, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, Similarly, in Gita, different yogas to reach him. I think they are all similar. It's a matter of, I think Satyaji said it very correctly, you may have to, something we do inadvertently. Like my mother, she never went to school actually. But she did bhakti yoga. And bhakti yoga means pure love for God, pure love. You don't need any language. You don't need to read Gita. It is the purest form of love. And if you can do that, I think you achieve your goal. That's it. So, different people use it different ways. And, when you do bhakti yoga, you also do karam yoga. Bhakti is a karam too, And, you would find people who are very devoted, who worship God. They also do good karmas. Isn't it? Thank you. Yeah. Sorry.
So here we have Vasudeva ji. He's going to share with us what they do through the Sameda group. So he will share with us in terms of the Bhagavad Gita. How do you go about teaching it?
Narayana. I can see the audience standing there probably. So I represent a group called GR Educational Trust, which is set up by Sri Chinnajiyar Swami. So when we started this group, our goal is to give a personality development for kids because they are our future. Now, when we talk about personality development for kids, what does it mean? It means basically we try to give an value-based education, which is probably we all know it's missing in many places. In India, it's missing, as well as US, we no need to tell about it. So as part of that, we start telling kids about there is an God. Instead of God, we tell that there is an divine energy in the world. And how do you tap to that God or the super energy on a daily basis, on a day-to-day activity? So when we tell that, when you wake up, we start praying to the God. Just like you charge your mobile phone now and then because it gets discharged, we all human beings also get discharged. So we need to tap that energy. We tell them that with different activities you do, there is an opportunity for you to tap to that energy, get energized so that you can do good things in this world. That's how we start. But as they grow, they come to a stage, we wanted to teach them Bhagavad Gita. So when we're thinking, how do we teach this Bhagavad Gita to the kids? Because they're after all at the age of 10 years probably when they come in our course curriculum. At the age of 10, what do we teach to a kid about Bhagavad Gita, or 11 or 12? We were thinking, and then we approached our Swamiji. Initially, we started focusing on making them recite the slokas of Bhagavad Gita, 700. So there are kids who mastered these 700 slokas. They have been trained to recollect, memorize as well as recollect. When I say memorize, we all know that I memorize a sloka, I can reproduce it. When they recollect it, what do is, they can tell, if you tell 8th chapter, 4th sloka, they can tell the sloka. If you tell 8th chapter, a starting word of that sloka, they can tell. That's the skill we have imparted in them. Then we thought, what else we can do? Because again, our goal is to give a personality development. We thought Gita for kids, we requested our Acharya Swamiji, Chinnajiyar Swami. Then Swamiji graced us with concepts, which help again in the focusing of the personality development. One of the concepts I would introduce you is about how do you overcome the depression, which is a big challenge in US, right? So that we related to with the Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the first chapter in itself. There are 3 Vishadas, 3 depressions, we all know in Bhagavad Gita. We tell them that, see, how did each of them approach this depression, the problem of depression? Arjuna, he always had this habit of, or inculcated a habit right from childhood, approaching to Krishna. Whenever there is a problem, he used to rush to Krishna. Hey, Krishna, I have this problem. Not only Arjuna, all Pandavas. So that habit, which he has been there with him right from childhood, has helped him when he was in a deep trouble to automatically fall on the feet of Krishna. So we tell them, the kids, that as you grow, always build this habit of talking to a good mentor. Don't have your thoughts in your mind, because that's what most of the people get into the depression. If you don't share, if you don't approach to a good mentor. So that is one of the value-based education we tell them. Similarly, we give an example, how did Duryodhana suffer? How did Dhritarashtra suffer? Because all 3 went through the depression, only Arjuna was able to successfully come out of it. Similarly, we tell the concept of crossroads. When you're at a crossroad, what should I do? If you don't know how to approach, then you're always bound to take a wrong road. So the wrong path. So like this, what we were able to do is, with the help of our Acharya Shri Chinnajiyar, we are able to bring these concepts to the kids so that a kid at the age of 12, they can understand this, they can correlate, they can relate this to their daily activities. Crossroad, they understand the depression, or at least when you are stuck with an not to what to do, where to do, what to do, whom to approach, all that they are able to relate to it. So that's how we bring in Bhagavad Gita as a concept to the kids. We are able to see that it's been working for the kids, and we have been doing last few years this one, and this is our 4th year, where we have been talking to kids in terms of the concepts, what they can relate to it. Initially, we were thinking that how do we teach Bhagavad Gita to a 12-year-old kid? And that's where I think this concept-based education, which relates to their daily activities, daily challenges they see, right? It was very helpful. Our goal is, before the kid goes to the high school, they should get these basic things so that they exactly know what to do and whom to approach when they're really stuck at a challenge. One example I could say, we also teach Ramayana also. Some concepts from Ramayana about Rama's 16 qualities. I have seen experience that I can share one example how it worked. My own son, he has gone through, I insisted him to go through all the Rama's qualities, 16 qualities before he goes to the college. He's in 2nd year now. So he went to college. He has seen one of his close friend. He started getting into the habits which is not supposed to do. He came back and told, he's my good friend, Nana, what should I do? I told him, you read Rama's quality, you decide what he should do. he came and told that Rama has a good quality called, what is that? Viryavan, sorry, Viryavan. Viryavan means you have good qualities, you spread them wherever you go, you don't lose those qualities. At the same time, you don't absorb the bad qualities. He came back and told, I understand Rama is having these qualities, probably I should continue to do what I'm doing. At the same time, I don't absorb whatever is bad in the society. So the point I'm trying to bring is this value-based education, what we are focusing is definitely working. And I see a lot of examples as I talk to different kids. So Geeta, the way we are introducing to kids is all about concepts. What is it for a kid for his day-to-day life? That's what we found it's been working. Just thought of sharing with you. Jai Shri, thank you so much.
So let's go around. There's some other people who had questions, I know that. And if they're shy, they can still ask, you know. So right here, what would you, Arvind, I'm coming to you, don't worry. What question? You know, for the kid, whatever question.
Okay, I don't have any specific question, but yeah, I mean, one thing which I was amazed to see from all the speakers was that, you know, while the interpretation and the analysis and the presentation was different, but there was always a common theme across all the speakers, and it was really very good to see that, and it was easier to understand all the concepts because the theme was always same, and the outcome which we understood was always same. One of the things which I can just ask just for my own probably improvement in the future is that, you know, when you started like learning Geeta or the concepts of it, how much time it took for like somebody like me who has completely no knowledge right now, and we have to go about like trying to understand maybe a 1% of it. Like, what's the time frame it takes for you to, you know, to absorb something from it or get something useful out of it?
Thank you, thank you. Go ahead.
So your question is, since this is what you are wording, that I know about 1% of Bhagavad Gita, how long will it take me to come to the higher level or next level, right? Is that the question? Yes, okay. Okay. The question is, how long will it take him to learn about Bhagavad Gita? Okay. Learn about Bhagavad Gita. He knows very little about it and he wants to learn more. How long will it take him? So the simple answer is, how much time do you put? We said, jitna gud utna mitha. Right? So whatever effort you put in it, you will learn accordingly. That's a very simple. If you want to, but learning does not mean that you just read the Bhagavad Gita and recite. You really have to do a lot of manan, contemplation on it. What it means. Sometimes, you know, there is a beautiful story in where one of the queen, that Guru was teaching her about Kurukshetra, Dharmkshetra, and she could not remember it. And Guru got very mad at her that you cannot even remember only 2 words, Kurukshetra, Dharmkshetra. And she says, yes, but how to convert Kurukshetra into Dharmkshetra, that's what I'm trying to learn. And I have not learned that yet. So really, when you really learn the meaning of it, what it means, how you practice it, how you contemplate it, and how you bring it in your life. So there are 3 or 4 steps like Patan, Shravan, and then contemplation, and then applying in your life. So that's all. There are 4 steps to it. So it's not that you have to learn all the 700 verses, 24,447 words of Bhagavad Gita. Even a 1 word of Bhagavad Gita, 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 Tyag, Tyag, Tyag. But now the Tyag of what? My anger? My fear? So there is how deep you want to. Gita takes you so deep, so deep. And with 1 word, you can learn a lot.
Vaisab, you got something to say?
Okay. First of all, it was a very intelligent question. Spirituality is not a hobby. It's not a hobby. It's the top priority of life. So we must understand when we touch and go around Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it is a roadmap. एक है GPS, एक है CPS. Bhagavad Gita is the CPS, Celestial Positioning System. So always remember that. And I am just touching the concept of the law of karma, because we all do karma and we should understand it very clearly what it is. The intent and motive of your action before you initiate any action, whether you are eating food or going to office or driving, or I am a CEO of a company. What is my intent and motive before I initiate any action? That will decide the quality of the action. And there are three types of actions: karam, akaram, and vikaram. Karam is the rajasic state of mind, when your mind is selfish, full of energy, but you are doing everything for yourself. That is the rajasic state of mind. And then there is this tamasic state of mind, where we, like I gave $10,000 somebody to kill somebody. So now I am involved in the destruction of this creation. That is the tamasic state of mind. But the best state of mind, which Srimad Bhagavad Gita advocates and professes very deeply, that is the sattvic state of mind. And there are litmus tests that we are the judge and jury to understand that. Sattvic state of mind, you are compassionate. You are selflessness mode of mind. And you have the empathy for others. So if my state of mind, because I have to judge it, before I initiate any action, I have to study the state of my mind. And that is called, in terms of law, intent and motive. So always be very careful whenever we do, whatever we do. If my intent means adopt the right means. Adopt the right means, at the end of the day, the result will be good. But if I adopt the corrupt means, the end result may be good, but it is a bad, according to the high standard of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I have to pay the price because I adopted the wrong means. Wrong means my state of mind was wrong. So this is how we have to study Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It is a science of mind, to manage the mind. Everybody has a mind. So as long as we understand the steps involved, that's what I initiated, that Bhagavad Gita or spirituality is not a hobby. It is the top priority of life. And we must take it that way. And like I am just touching quickly the concept of bhakti also. There are 39 qualities of a person who is permanently attached to the divine forces. And that is called bhakti. Bhakti means the person, it's a process. And bhakt means jo juda hua hai. To unite yourself with the Almighty, the divine organic forces, we have to unite ourselves. In the process, the state of my mind must be that I am Advaita Sarvabhutanam, Maitriya, Karuna, which there are 39 qualities. Now, once I know it, I must try to imbibe one quality in its totality. That is what Srimad Bhagavad Gita is. So I think I touched the main points, but your question was very interesting, and I touched the peripheral of that question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I will take a second,
Okay, okay.
make it very quick. First of all, congratulations asking that question. That's your inclination and interest is to understand Bhagavad Gita. So, but I hope. Secondly, there are two things, knowing and being. किताब पढ़ ली, याद कर लिया, थोड़ा उसका ट्रांसलेशन भी पढ़ लिया, you understand Hindi ना, then you start getting interest. But धीमे धीमे भगवत गीता has its own spiritual superiority. It will carry you through. So my suggestion, get into it with श्रद्धा. गुरुदेव ने कहा जो भी जीव इसको श्रद्धा पूर्वक धारण करेगा वो जीवत्व को छोड़कर ईश्वर की प्राप्ति करेगा. तो have the श्रद्धा and dip into the river of Mother Geeta. You will be all right. Go
All
on.
right, all right. You know, Guru Ma is here. We got to ask her this $1 million question. How do you get going, right? I have some answers. I'm an engineer, but we're going to ask Guru Ma because she's here. So Guru Ma question ये था, कितना time लगेगा हमको गीता सीखने के? मतलब सीखने मतलब in the sense start using it, getting going on it. So, right? Is that the question? So I'll give it to her and then I'll give you my engineering point of view in 10 seconds.
जय श्री कृष्ण, जय गुरुदेव। कितना टाइम लगेगा गीता सीखने के लिए या गीता याद करने के लिए? There are 2 points. याद करने का तो हमारे ऊपर डिपेंड करता है, हम कितने इसमें मेहनत करते हैं, कितना टाइम देते हैं और किस सिलसिले से याद करते हैं। और गीता सीखना मतलब उसका अगर मीनिंग सीखें इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग। गीता अपने जीवन में लाए उसके लिए तो पूरी लाइफ है। तो वी जस्ट कैन नॉट क्लेम कि हमने गीता सीख ली जब तक वो प्रैक्टिस में नहीं आती है। इसलिए कुछ नियम, कुछ साधन बहुत जरूरी है अपने लाइफ में, कुछ डिसिप्लिन बहुत जरूरी है। तो वो हमारे ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कितना हम सीरियसली इसको लेते हैं और प्रैक्टिस करते हैं। और मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ अपना हम अकाउंट रखें रोज का बिफोर स्लीपिंग कि आज मेरे से क्या अच्छा हुआ है और क्या गलतियां हुई हैं। तो अगर मिस्टेक्स हुई है तो फिर उसको सुधारने में हम जो ऑनेस्टली उसमें लगे रहे। तो ये हुई गीता प्रैक्टिस करके गीता सीखना जो हमें गुरु महाराज ने सिखाई है। और गीता याद करना वर्बली तो उसका मैंने आपको बताया। सो दे आर 2 डिफरेंट थिंग्स इन नटशेल आई टोल्ड यू। जय श्री कृष्ण।
जय श्री कृष्ण। जस्ट फॉलोइंग अप जो गुरुमा ने कहा है, हम गीता धाम की बात करते हैं। सो हमारी जो गीता क्लासेस है ना, जो हमारे प्रिंसिपल यहाँ पे जो बैठे हुए हैं, आई थिंक व्हाट वी शुड आल्सो वर्क ऑन कि जैसे गीता धाम में बच्चों को क्लासेस देते रहते हैं, राइट? सो हमारे लिए भी वी कैन आस्क डॉक्टर वेद शर्मा, सम ऑफ अस टू डू अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ दैट। बट व्हाट इट रियली टेक्स इज गुरुजी's मैजिक। जब I was your age, a little younger to you too, I was maybe 19 years old. So I asked him, he says, 2 minute Geeta ko padhoge, which is what Guru Ma talks about. That 2 minutes only at the dining table with your family might make a big difference. उससे इंटरेस्ट आ जाता है। बॉस के साथ तो प्रॉब्लम होती है, एक घर का बॉस है, एक दूसरा वाला बॉस है, राइट? तो उसके लिए शांति के लिए 2 मिनट इफ यू रीड इट, and I learned that we develop a lot of good qualities just by going through that. So I think we should get a class going.